Hey guys, I'm Brent Ehrler with Tackle Warehouse, and here's the Bassmaster Classic recap. I had a fun event, ended up in second place. It's 2 years now where I've actually kind of been in contention to win and haven't had it happen. This one was a little different. I was actually in ninth place going into the final day, and I really stretched it thinking I had to catch heavy weight on the final day. I thought I needed 7 pounds. Well, I knew I needed 7 pounds to win. It was a deficit behind me, but I thought I needed over 20 to have a chance to win. So I caught a limit really fast in the morning, a spotted bass, and then went and stretched. And I say stretch it, meaning I kind of gambled a little bit trying to catch a good largemouth kicker or two. And I got sick of it, wasn't catching anything. You know what? I'm going to go out and just fish my fish and just hopefully move up a little bit in the standings. Well, I ended up catching them fairly well and moved up and just missed winning the tournament. And what's funny is that I was ended up mostly catching spotted bass. And what I found is that the fish were out on staging areas. They were on secondary points. They were in drains, chasing herring. So what I did is I threw 2 baits specifically for the fish that were chasing the herring. And one is I think it's called a Super Fish Pro Underspin. I was throwing a little swim bait on this. It's a 4-inch Kitech. The other one is a Coolbaits Lures Underspin as well. And this time I went with a 4-inch swim Senko. They both have completely different actions. And it seemed like when they were on one, they were on it and not the other. So I rotated between these two. I also threw just a 4-inch swim bait as well, and I put that on a Boss swim bait head. It's a really good head, has a screw lock on it, holds the swim bait on there very well. So Boss 3/8 ounce swim bait head. Now all 3 of these setups I threw on my 7.3 Daiwa Tatula Elite Series medium heavy multi-purpose rod. So many different things you can do with this rod. If you ever need a rod for doing everything, this is the one. So I threw the swim bait, I threw the underspins. I rotated between either the Tatula SV, which I had on the swim bait for throwing a little bit lighter bait, with 12-pound FC Sniper fluorocarbon. Now these two I ended up throwing on, at least this one I threw on the Steve's eggs, a little bit deeper spool, and I felt like it could make a longer cast. It's a 1/2 ounce head. I threw the same thing on this one, 1/2 ounce head, for making a little bit farther cast. Instead of using that lighter one with the SV spool, I wanted that bigger spool for casting a little bit farther. Now, I would pull up on these spots and I would catch them quickly, and then they would kind of shut off for a little bit. What would happen is I'd pull the school towards me, and then they'd kind of scatter and they wouldn't really group up, and there's less competition. So then I went for slower baits. And the 2 slower baits I threw were a jig. Now this is a 3/4 ounce Boss jig, brown, that I hand tied myself, with green pumpkin 5-inch Yamamoto twin tail grub. Years ago in an FLW tournament I ended up winning. I caught them on the same style jig, just different jig head now, same skirt, same 5-inch twin tail grub. What I found is that I could wind the swim bait around, the underspin, catch a few. They would slow down. The next bait I'd throw is the jig. And I'm guessing over the 3 days, I'd wind the swim bait around, not have any bites. I'd pick up the jig, and on the first cast, I'd catch a good one. I'd barely even hit the bottom, one would get on it. So sometimes they like that bottom bait. Now, the other bait I threw was a Yamamoto Senko. And what I did is I threw it on a nail head. This is a 3/32 ounce Eagle Claw nail weight, with an O-ring on there. And this is the B10S Stinger by Gamakatsu. But what I did is I hand tied fiber weed guard on there. There's a lot of brush around, so I was throwing that just to have a little extra comfort around the brush piles. Now the jig rod, going back to that, I like a 7.4 Tatula Elite Series Ishman Row frog rod. For some reason that rod is perfect for throwing a big heavy jig like that. So the Ishman Row rod with a Steve's A reel, 16-pound FC Sniper fluorocarbon. I was throwing 7-to-1. I wanted a faster gear ratio for taking up the slack when one bites it. Now with the Senko, I threw it on my rod that I designed for the Tattoo Elite series. It's a 7-1 medium action, and it's the drop shot rod, Tattoo Elite series drop shot rod. But we really should have named this the multi-purpose rod, because I use it for everything. I use it for a Senko, I use it for a weightless Senko, I use it for a shaky head, I use it for winding small swim baits, small crankbaits. In this case, I threw a NACO rig. I threw a weightless Senko as well. On the first day of the tournament, I caught a real big one, shallow, on a weightless Senko. Just same thing, but just without the nail weight, and caught one almost 6 pounds. So with this, my signature series, 7-1 medium action, and then I went with the Exist reel, and I liked a little bit bigger size. And I went with 12 pound, the new PE8 Sunline braided line, to an 8 pound FC Sniper fluorocarbon. That's what I always run, 12 to 8. It doesn't matter what application I'm doing, I'm running 12 to 8 on a spinning setup. So that was kind of my rotation going through these spots. Ended up catching a lot of fish. I think I was catching close to 30 fish a day, which was really a lot of fun. It kind of helps keep your head in the game, and really makes it for a fun tournament, which it really was. Fishing was very good. Lake Hartwell is a very good lake, and it's a Bassmaster Classic. How could you not like going to that, catching fish? So all this stuff is available right here on tacklewarehouse.com. Pick it up. I know you'll love it.